Scott Bessent's return from Trump's Situation Room is the perfect example of how even the most seasoned communicator gets betrayed by the one signal his discipline can't fully suppress. Watch.
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule. And
Scott Bessent, U.S. Treasury Secretary, macro investor, and one of the most composed communicators in Washington, was sitting down for a long-form interview on the Master Investor podcast with Wilfred Frost. He was relaxed, he was fluent, he was deep inside a conversation about Japanese economic policy when Trump called. Bessent left for the Situation Room. Over an hour later, he came back. You just watch his first moments on camera after that visit. And if you're wondering what exactly changed, most people have been looking in the wrong place entirely because the answer is not in his face, and it's not in his eyes. We're about to find out exactly where it is. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and today we are doing a full before and after on Scott Bessent. But before we analyze what changed, we need to establish who Bessent is as a communicator, because the contrast is everything here. Pay attention to his hands and the rhythm of his head.
great fellow Funabashi-san, Japanese journalist, thinker, policy person, called and said, there's this fellow called Abe. He had been the prime minister before.
Notice the physical fluency. This is not just verbal. His right hand is working constantly, drawing the meaning of his words in the air. We call these illustrator gestures. They're one of the clearest markers of genuine cognitive engagement. Not just reciting, but thinking out loud, with his body following every thought in real time. He's also nodding softly throughout. That continuous vertical head movement is an unconscious signal of internal conviction. His body is agreeing with its own output. Now watch the second clip.
He's going to come back. I think he could be the prime minister, and he's going to campaign on restoring the Japanese economy, economic strength as national strength, and on a reflationary platform.
Same confidence, but now he subtly lifts his chin. That chin raise is a dominance display. It elongates the neck, expands the body's visual footprint, signals, I own this space. And that pinch gesture, index finger pressure to Trump. Index finger pressed to thumb, that's a baton gesture. Batons land on the keyword like a conductor's downstroke, precision emphasis from a man in complete command of his delivery. This is his baseline. But here's where everything changes. There's no audio to analyze from the interruption itself, but the footage captures the exact moment Bessent is pulled away, and someone approaches to deliver the news. Something crosses his face for less than a fraction of a second. A lip corner press on the right side, a micro-expression of frustration. He doesn't yet know who is calling. Then he finds out it's Trump himself. His face immediately relaxes into a soft smile. He is cooperative. He leaves. He spends a little more than 1 hour in the Situation Room, and the man who comes back is not quite the man who left. Now, look at his hands as he answers the first question after he returns.
No, the president is in great spirits. The Iranian mission is proceeding well ahead of schedule, and
his hands are completely still, pinned to his thighs. The same hands that were sculpting ideas in the air minutes ago are now nowhere. In body language, when a habitual gesturer suddenly stops gesturing, we call this a freeze response, a change of rhythm. The brain is under overwhelming load and begins eliminating non-essential outputs, and the first thing to go is gestures. His voice also carries a slight tremor as he delivers the line about the Iranian mission. The words say calm and in control, well, the delivery says something else. But the moment that tells us everything comes next.
You know, I have to tell you, Wolf, that I'm a teenager who's considering military service.
He stumbles on teenager, not on a policy term, not on a foreign name. No, the word teenager, a word that he has said thousands of times in his life. And that is precisely the point. Stress-induced disfluency doesn't attack your hardest words. It attacks the words loaded with the most emotional weight in that specific moment. He's not tripping on the syllables. He's tripping on what the word means to him, his child.
That I'm a teenager who...
And his hands are still frozen. He's working to compose himself. And then something shifts. Watch his left hand as he starts talking about the team.
And I could give this team my highest compliment, from President Trump to the head of the Joint Chiefs to the Secretary of War. I would say that I would trust my child's life in their hands.
The illustrator gesture returns. First the left hand, then both hands rising together on "I would trust my child's life in their hands." He has found solid ground, a statement that he believes completely, and his body follows. The voice is still slightly unsteady, but the gestures are back. This is reconsolidation. The emotional override is releasing. He is landing back in his own delivery.
That I would trust my child's life in their hands.
And the moment that clip ends, he swallows. Not a casual swallow, a deliberate, visible one. That is an emotional release marker. The body has been holding tension through the entire sequence, and the act of making that statement about his child, about his trust, creates a small physiological exhale. The pressure drops just enough for the system to let go. Then Bessent returns to the Japan topic, and this is where the most subtle detail of the entire clip appears. Pay attention to his head movement this time.
A little more time than Westerners would have liked. But the things that they've done to restructure the economy, restructure the investment environment in terms of the bringing up shareholders' rights.
He is back in analytical mode, fluent, precise, the economic framework fully intact. But notice the head. Before the Situation Room, he was nodding. Now he's gently shaking his head. The content is positive, but the head movement is negative. That is an incongruent cluster, a mismatch between what the words signal and what the body is saying. Something in his processing has not fully reset. And now for the detail that is frankly remarkable. I tracked his blinking rate before and after the interruption. Virtually identical. Blink rate is one of the first signals to spike under acute stress. The autonomic nervous system can barely contain it. Bessent held it steady, and that is an extraordinary level of physiological discipline. But his voice gave him away completely. And this is what makes this clip generally instructive. You can train your face, you can train your hands. Elite communicators do it every day, and Bessent is living proof of how far that training can take you. But vocal tremor under acute emotional load is one of the last signals you learn to suppress, if you ever do. Under high stress, the muscles around the larynx tighten, breathing becomes shallower, and pitch stability suffers. The voice is the canary in the coal mine. What Bessent showed us is that extraordinary self-discipline can hold most of the body together, but when a man who has spoken in front of heads of state can't get through the word teenager, you know what kind of weight he carried out of that room. But let me know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Body Language Guy. Much love and bliss.